Okay, just checking this. Welcome everyone. We've got some echo there by the sounds of it. Let me just make sure I'm muted here. Okay, that should now be good. All right, welcome everyone to How to Get Back 2 Hours a Day. Thank you so much for joining me. My name's Matt Cowdroy and I am a productivity ninja. There are some familiar faces, familiar names on the list of people that have joined here, so thanks for coming back. This will be a bit like a refresher or a top up for you. And there are some people whose names I don't recognize. So welcome to some content relating to the productivity ninja. Now I'm going to turn off my webcam because it definitely distracts me when I know that I'm being recorded visually, and then we'll be able to focus more. And you'll also see me darting my eyes around the screen as I do things like look at your questions and change the slides. So here we go. How to get back 2 hours a day. We've only got 30 minutes together. So let me explain what we're going to do in this 30 minutes. Firstly, I'm going to explain a little bit about Think Productive. What I want to say is this 30 minutes is not a sales pitch. This 30 minutes is just to give you some really good value information to get back 2 hours a day. But I will just tell you a little bit about Think Productive and why it's important to be a productivity ninja. Then I'll go through the tips, how to get back 2 hours a day. Now, this is not a normal Think Productive workshop. I'm taking the best bits and putting it into 30 minutes for you. I'll be giving you my top 3 tips as to how to get back 2 hours a day and a bonus tip. So basically 4 tips. In the end, I'll be giving you some extra resources. I'll be sharing some upcoming workshops. But as I say, this is not a sales pitch. This is really, the idea of this is I'm just so passionate about what we do at Think Productive. I just want to share this information to as many people as I can. And what a great way to do it via this webinar. So thanks again for joining. So just a little bit about Think Productive. At Think Productive, we're a global organization. We have offices in Sydney, London, Europe, America, Canada, and we basically cover the whole world from those offices. And I run and own the Australian New Zealand operation. We absolutely love what we do at Think Productive. We do workshops, we do one-on-one coaching, mostly with corporate clients, but also with individuals who run their own businesses. Now, why be a productivity ninja? What's this all about? The whole point of being a productivity ninja is to reduce our stress. And I love this image, we all live a lot of our lives in this state of stress. Now, the reason for being more productive is to hopefully reduce this stress, get this noise out of our head, and therefore love our life. Like the actual subtitle to the book, which this is all based on, is worry less, achieve more, love what you do. So it's actually about reducing our stress, getting more of the right things done, and enjoying our life more. So that's what Think Productive is all about. I absolutely love what we do, and I'm looking forward to sharing some. There's the face-to-face workshops, the webinars. There's the book by Graham Alcott, which all this is based on, which you'll all get access to a digital copy of for free after this, and I'll tell you how to do that. You'll be getting that via the Productivity Ninja Academy, and I'll be sending you all an invitation to the Productivity Ninja Academy. After this is free. You get a free membership for 3 months, and you can just get in and download a copy of the book for those of you that want to take it further. So that's some follow-up resources for you. So on to a little bit of the theory, a little bit of the content. Firstly, to talk about time management. There's no such thing as time management. The clock's just ticking. We can't slow the clock down. We can't fit more into a minute. A minute has 60 seconds and that's it. So if you think of people in your world, in your life that are successful, that are inspiring, that get a lot done, it's we've all got 24 hours a day. That's really it. So we have to think about managing other things other than time. So time is not the thing to focus on, and I'll be sharing what those things are. The key tip here, and it's not one of my top tips as such, is to manage our attention. Really key point. The more we can manage our attention on what we're doing at the time, the better we'll be at it. But I'm going to share with you actually how to do that. Now, these are the 9 characteristics of the Productivity Ninja. We go through these in our workshops. They're pretty self-explanatory. Today, I'll just be focusing on 3 of them. But you can see the theming here. The theming here is around, managing our mind, managing our ruthlessness, saying no to things more often, doing things differently, unorthodoxy, getting prepared. Human, not superhero, I love. Human, not superhero is acknowledging that we're all different. We all have different ways of doing things. So even when we share ideas, it's like, see, if you think it doesn't work for you, see if there's a way that you can make it work for you. Because we are all different. So we all have different ways of doing things. Now I'm just checking on the comments here. I can see one person saying my sound was a bit faint. Hopefully it was just a matter of turning up the volume. Other people have said they can hear me, so we should be fine. All right, let's get on to it. The first tip for you, how to get back 2 hours a day. Now let me explain getting back 2 hours a day, what I mean by that. 2 hours of effective work a day. Now, if you can get back 2 hours of effective work, it may actually be 2 hours less that you can work. It's how you want to look at this. If you can be more effective for 2 hours, you might be able to finish work 2 hours earlier, or you might be able to do 2 hours more. It's really up to you. But taking on board these tips will really help you get more done, which means you're getting back time effectively. So the first tip is to manage distractions. We're distracted every 3 minutes approximately. In our corporate life, in work, in our life, we're distracted every 3 minutes by our phones, by people, by our computers, by our emails, by our email notifications. We have so many distractions, but the good news is we have some control over this. One of the ninja characteristics that I like to talk about is stealth and camouflage. Now we have control over these distractions because we can actually find ways to effectively hide. And this is what we're looking for under stealth and camouflage, ways to hide. Because as we know, the open plan office is not a good place to work. A lot of us are working in open plan, we're working in shared workspaces, or some of us are even working from home. Now that can be very distracting. So it's difficult to find ways to manage our attention. So we need to look for ways to manage distractions within that. Now here are some tips as to how to manage distractions. First one, the smartphone, obviously, put it on do not disturb or put it on flight mode. That's an obvious one. Emails. Did you know you can turn Outlook offline? You can see the red box at the top of the screen there. In Outlook, under send, you can turn, but you won't be getting new emails coming in to distract you. The other thing with emails is turning off the notifications. If you need any help with doing that, let me know and I'll help you. So emails are obviously one of our biggest distractions. Now, when we've done all that, using a timer, you can see on the screen there this timer called Forest. Forest is just a cute app. It's free. You might like to try it, but I just use the countdown timer on the phone. And the key thing here is setting yourself some tasks to do, choosing what you're going to do, setting a timer, normally for about 25 minutes, and then getting on with it. There's a technique called the Pomodoro Technique. Now, the Pomodoro Technique is based around this 25-minute sprint where we work for 25 minutes and we have a 5-minute break. So that's a good sort of method to get into. And you'll find when you block out the distractions using do not disturb or flight mode, put the Outlook offline, turn on a timer, bang, you'll really get so much more work done in those 25 minutes. You can also put on headphones to manage distractions if there's a lot of noise around you. And even another concept of doing a power hour, where you might, with your team, and I work with clients who do this, as a team, they all decide for the next hour or for an hour a day, they're not going to distract each other. They're just going to sit down and get some work done. So this enables us to actually focus. We want to create this environment where we can be with people because people are life. People are part of our work, part of our life, but we need to be able to create this attention bubble. So managing distractions, that's how to get back 2 hours a day. Now, the next tip is to have a second brain. A second brain is a place where we can put basically our to-do lists, our thoughts, our goals. Our second brain is where we can store a lot of data. Normally it's a digital environment, and I'll share with you some ideas as to what that second would be in terms of a digital environment. It could also be just a notebook, for example. Some people like the pen and paper concept. Our brain is, this was a quote originally from David Allen, Our quote is for having ideas, not holding them. Our brain is not designed as a storage device. So our brain is for having ideas, not holding them. I really love that quote. So we need to create a second brain. This comes under the ninja characteristic of weapon savvy. Now, weapon savvy includes all sorts of things, emails, other apps, other tools, but specifically with weapon savvy at this point, I want to talk more about this idea of having a second brain. We've already seen this image, and this is exactly why we need a second brain, because we've got all this information stuck in our head. Now, the problem with this, having all this information just stuck in our head, is when we have the opportunity to choose our next task, we could choose anything. And you can see the list of things there, from picking up milk to solving global warming. So what would you choose if you had to choose from, what will I do now? Will I pick up the milk or will I solve global warming? You'll pick up the milk, because you haven't got a system of prioritizing, planning, putting deadlines. So this is why we need a second brain. So the first step before getting to a second brain is doing a brain dump. A brain dump involves sitting down in a quiet space for maybe 10 or 15 minutes and just writing down everything that's in your head. This is important because this actually clears the head, and this gives you the data for then including in your second brain. So doing a brain dump is like a sub point of having a second brain. Now, once you've done the brain dump, you want to get all that data into a system. Now, that system could just be a notebook. So your notebook, your to-do list that you write down every day, that could be a second brain. But it's got its limitations, obviously. The pen and paper, you can't sort things, you can't easily prioritize things, you find yourself rewriting things all the time. So some of the apps on the screen here relate to other topics within Weapon Savvy, but I just want to draw your attention really to two main apps here. Todoist is a fantastic digital to-do list. You can use the free version. I have nothing to gain from recommending this. It's just an absolutely brilliant app that I like to recommend. This is a digital to-do list where the data lives in the cloud. You can access it on your computer. You can access it on your phone, and this can have all your different lists, to-do lists, your goals, your plans. The other one is Evernote. Evernote's a great place for a second brain, not necessarily for a to-do list, but for storing other things, because we just want to get everything out of our brain. So if you haven't ever had a look at Evernote or Todoist, have a look at those. There's a whole lot of other things there that we talk about in our longer workshops, but to keep this tight today, I really just want to draw your attention to the weapon savvy aspect of having a second brain. And once that second brain's there, it does all the remembering for you. This is the really good thing, and this is how you reduce your stress. When you sit down in the morning to plan your day, your second brain's there, you haven't forgotten anything. Knowing that you haven't forgotten anything is a really nice way to reduce your stress. Often the things that keep us awake at night are the things that we're remembering to remember. Oh, I need to remember to do this tomorrow. I need to remember to do that tomorrow. So once it's all captured somewhere, you can, honestly, you can forget it because you know that it's there and it's captured. So this is the beauty of a second brain. Now, we'll be asking for questions at the end. We should have 5 minutes at the end for questions, but I'll also be hanging around after this 30 minutes to have any extra discussions with people if they want to. If you have questions, just pop them in the question box there now, and I'll come to those towards the end, but we can just capture those in there while you think of them. Now, the third tip to get 2 hours a day is boss thinking. Boss thinking is really taking some time out to do the planning, do the thinking, think like a boss rather than thinking like a worker. Now I'll explain this. This comes under the ninja characteristic of preparedness. Now we have these two aspects to our brain, the boss and the worker. Peter Drucker back in the 1960s, he developed this concept of the worker and the boss. Now what this is when you're sitting down and you're trying to do the work, as the worker, this voice comes in your head and it's your boss voice. It's almost like your boss conscience sitting on your shoulder saying, what about the other things you haven't done? They're more important. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Are you sure you're working on the right things today? And I'm sure you get this voice as you sit there trying to get your work done. And sometimes that leads to multitasking, it just leads to stress, it leads to distraction. So this idea of the worker and the boss that's sitting in us all at once is causing a lot of stress and it's causing a lot of distraction. So we need to split the two. Now this is in this third tip of boss thinking. We need to split these two out so that we can really give the boss mind or the boss conscience its attention and then tell it to go away and then get on with the work as the worker. And you'll find once you get on with the work as the worker, it's easier. It's easier. You can really get some fulfillment and get some momentum from just getting things done. Now, I love this quote. This relates to boss thinking. This comes from Graham, who wrote the Productivity Ninja book. The more you think, the easier your work becomes. Now, this relates to boss thinking. The more we think, the easier our work becomes, and it's true. I was actually thinking this morning, imagine if we put the same amount of attention and focus on planning our work, reviewing our goals, thinking about the best things to do today. Imagine if we put the same amount of attention on that we put on things like checking Facebook and our Instagram feeds. Like I sit on the bus, it takes me about 40 minutes to get to the city on the bus, and I see everyone looking at their Instagram feeds. Now, I'm not perfect. I like to look at Instagram as well, but it just got me thinking this morning. Imagine if we put the same amount of time and attention into thinking about our work, but not just thinking, planning, thinking strategically, thinking carefully, thinking with priorities. So yeah, just a random thought of a productivity ninja sitting on a bus in the morning. So the more we think about our work, the easier it becomes. Now, a tool for doing this. How do we do this boss thinking? This third tip's quite a big tip because it's really like, how do we do the boss thinking? Now, I'll email all of you that have attended today, I'll email you this. It's just a PDF that you can print out. This is a daily checklist. This is how to do boss thinking at the start of the day. Now, what I recommend is doing this before you do anything like checking your emails. You just get into work or sit down to do your work. Go through this process. It's really straightforward. Let's have a look. Boss thinking helps create Zen-like calm, this feeling of peace. We need to think, is there anything left over from yesterday? Check our second brain or your to-do list for today's actions. Like what's due today? What's important? Choose 5 priority tasks. What are the big things? Write them on a post-it note. What I recommend is sticking some post-it notes, like print out this page, stick some post-it on the right-hand side, and every day you just write down 5 things. Now that will keep you focused. It's like a lighthouse that'll keep bringing you back to your priorities when everything else wants to take you off track. That's an absolute game changer. It's so simple, but it will, remember, the definition of productivity is working on the stuff that matters. Not just getting more done, but getting more of the stuff that matters done. So this will help with that. When will I go dark? This means when will you turn off your distractions? When will you actually maybe do a power hour, or when will you really get some focused work done today? Have a look at the calendar. See if that brings up any extra actions. Bit of ninja mindfulness. What am I resisting? What help do I need? It's a good question to ask yourself in the morning. You know, what am I resisting? There might be a task or a project that you're resisting, and you might need to ask for some help. How do I feel today? Really important. You might be feeling absolutely pumped and energetic so you can get some big things done, or you might be having a really slow day. You might be grumpy. You might not feel like being at work, and that might also, you might need to adjust how you set yourself up for the day. It's about ourselves up for success rather than failure. That's a really good way to start the day, and you'll notice doing your emails comes last. Now, processing emails is a whole separate topic, which I'm about to talk about next in the bonus tip. So that's boss thinking. If there's nothing that comes out of this webinar other than doing some boss thinking, I think that'll give you a huge win, and it could even get you back 2 hours a day because you'll be focusing on the important stuff. All right, the bonus tip. Get on top of your emails. I hear you all sigh. I hear thoughts of not possible. I hear it'll never happen. Like we run a workshop called Getting Your Inbox to Zero, and I can guarantee you that it's possible. Now, how to get on top of your emails is the key thing. Firstly, remember it is possible. If you don't get on top of your emails, this is what your inbox looks like. Your inbox is basically just a pile of mail. It's opened, it's not opened, some of it's labeled, some of it's categorized. I can hear a few of you laughing in the background now, I'm sure, because we've all got inboxes that look a bit like this if we haven't done the work. Now, I don't have time today to tell you how to do it, but I'm certainly going to tell you where to get the information. The information's in the book, and remember, you get a copy of the book for free. So this is not a sales pitch, this is just telling you where to go and get the information. I'll just turn on my webcam for another second here. When you download the book, the Productivity Ninja book, go to chapter 4. Chapter 4 will walk you through how to get your inbox to zero, how to set up your inbox. So if you're really motivated to do something with your emails after this, download the book and get chapter 4. Okay, get chapter 4 and read that. Now, I'm just going to have a look and see if we've got any questions here before I wrap up for you. Now, this was only a 30-minute session, so I really appreciate your time. I'm going to recap those top 3 tips as well, plus the bonus tip. Now, let's just see if there's any questions coming in. Yeah, thanks, Peter. I'll just... Okay, great question. I find that I can get a lot of this working because this is someone who's done some training with us before, but when the team are not aligned, you get dragged back to the team's rhythms and standards. Yeah, this is a key thing. So how do you get the team to work together on this? Getting the team to work together on this is really about investing the time with the team to make sure they all understand the benefit of it. And even if there are people in the team that don't want to take this on board, getting them to respect that others are taking this on board. Now, I mentioned human, not superhero. Everyone's got different ways of working. Some people like to play music in the office. Some people don't. Some people love the idea of a power hour. It freaks some people out because they think that they won't know what to do if they don't talk to someone. So we all have different ways of doing it. What it's about, sharing this space, it's kind of a community idea of working together. It's some respect for each other. So it might just be taking time to communicate with the team what's going on, give them some tips. As always, this is what we do. We go in and help people. We run workshops for teams so everyone's on board. Now, you won't get everyone on board. This is the thing. But if we can get 75% of the people on board or 80% of the people on board, great. As long as the other 20% respect what they're doing, then it should be okay. So that's a great question, and I hope that helps. So I just want to recap the tips. I'm just going back to the tips. Manage distractions. Be aware of how often you get distracted during the day. Have a second brain. Now, even if your second brain is a notebook, just start using it, use it well. Really important, just get everything out of your head by doing that brain dump to start with. Boss thinking. I actually think boss thinking is probably the biggest, most important tip out of all of this. Take some time. It only needs to be 5 minutes to sit down and think, what is going to make a difference today? What are my goals? And what do I need to get done? Imagine if we put the same amount of energy into doing that we put into our social media habits, just for example. And the bonus tip, getting on top of your emails, which you can do by getting the book, okay? So just a reminder, you'll all get an email after this giving you 3 months black belt membership to the Academy. So the Productivity Ninja Academy is our online learning platform where you can watch some videos. I'll actually put you in there for the How to Be a Productivity Ninja workshop, so you'll see some slides for that as well, because I actually have to link you to a workshop to get access, as if you've done one of our workshops. And in there you can download the book, and remember the book, chapter 4 specifically will take you through the email process. Now, we've got a couple of workshops coming up for those of you that are interested. I'll include some links to these in the follow-up email that you'll get this afternoon. We've got a Getting Your Inbox to Zero. There's only literally 3 seats left for this on the 12th of October. And we've got a How to Be a Productivity Ninja. These are short sessions. Getting Your Inbox to Zero is 3 hours. How to Be a Productivity Ninja, an hour and a half. These are face-to-face, done in our office in Sydney. We don't do many public workshops. Most of our work's done privately, I guess you could say, like with corporate clients, but we do run some occasionally for people to come and try the workshops out. So I'll send you some details for that anyway. You can follow us on Facebook. You can find the events on Facebook as well, Think Productive Australia. And you can contact me anytime. As I mentioned at the start, for those of you that don't know me, my name's Matt Cowdroy, and there are some contact details there. You see matt@thinkproductive.com.au, hello@thinkproductive.com.au will also come through to us. That's the website, Think Productive, the phone numbers. If there are any other questions before we wrap up. Let's see, any questions there at all? Thank you for the recap of the Productivity Ninja course. I'd lost my way for a while. Yeah, this can happen, Jenny. We do a workshop and we do lose our way for a while. So I'll be sending a follow-up email with those tips as well. Everyone's just saying thanks. Okay, I'll stop. So thanks everyone for watching the recording. If you've just watched this, feel free to contact me if you have any questions, and anyone who's still on